The 2026 Ford Mustang Dark Horse is not just another trim level or a cosmetic upgrade. It feels like Ford looked at decades of Mustang heritage and decided to build something that sits right on the edge between a street car and a track weapon. From the moment you see it, the Dark Horse makes it clear that this is a serious machine, designed for people who actually care about driving and not just looking fast at a stoplight. Let's start with the exterior, because this is where the Dark Horse really announces its presence. The design is aggressive without being overdone. The front end looks sharper and more purposeful than a standard Mustang, with a darker grille, unique badging, and functional air intakes that aren't just there for show. The hood has a more sculpted look, hinting at the power underneath, and the overall stance is wider and lower, giving the car a planted, almost predatory appearance. The Dark Horse exclusive wheels are lightweight and bold, filling out the wheel arches perfectly, and behind them you'll find upgraded brakes that immediately tell you this car was built with performance in mind. Around the back, the Dark Horse keeps things clean but muscular. The quad exhaust tips, rear diffuser, and subtle spoiler all work together to give the car a balanced, aggressive look. It doesn't scream for attention with wild wings or excessive aero, but if you know Mustangs, you instantly know this one means business. The darker accents throughout the body give it a stealthy vibe, and the paint options, especially the darker and more muted tones, fit the Dark Horse name perfectly. Step inside, and the interior feels like a big step forward for Mustang as a whole. The 2026 Dark Horse interior blends modern technology with a driver-focused layout that still feels like a proper muscle car. The first thing you notice is the digital cockpit, with a large, crisp instrument cluster that can change its layout depending on the drive mode. In normal driving, it's clean and easy to read, but switch to sport or track mode and it transforms into a more aggressive, performance-oriented display with shift lights and real-time performance data. The center screen is large and responsive, running Ford's latest infotainment system. It's quick, intuitive, and thankfully doesn't feel laggy or overly complicated. Apple CarPlay and Android Auto are standard, and everything from navigation to performance settings is easy to access. Ford has done a good job of blending touchscreen controls with physical buttons, so you're not forced to dig through menus just to adjust basic settings while driving. The seats in the Dark Horse deserve special mention. They are heavily bolstered, supportive, and clearly designed for spirited driving, but they're still comfortable enough for daily use. Whether you're carving through back roads or sitting in traffic, they hold you in place without feeling too stiff. The materials throughout the cabin feel more premium than previous Mustangs, with quality stitching, soft touch surfaces, and Dark Horse-specific details that make the interior feel special and not just like a regular Mustang with a badge slapped on. There's also a strong sense that this car was built for drivers. The flat-bottom steering wheel feels great in your hands, the pedals are perfectly placed for heel-and-toe driving, and the overall layout makes you feel connected to the car. Even small details, like the start button and drive mode selector, add to the sense that this is something more than a standard performance coupe. Now let's talk about what really matters with a car like this, performance. Under the hood of the 2026 Ford Mustang Dark Horse is a naturally aspirated 5.0-liter V8 that has been tuned specifically for this model. This engine produces more power than the standard GT, delivering an aggressive, high-revving experience that feels raw and engaging in a way that's becoming increasingly rare. The throttle response is sharp, the power delivery is linear, and the sound is pure Mustang, deep and throaty at low RPMs and absolutely ferocious when you push it. Buyers can choose between a 6-speed manual transmission or a fast-shifting automatic, and both options have their appeal. The manual is a dream for purists, offering precise shifts and a strong sense of mechanical connection. The automatic, on the other hand, is incredibly quick and makes the most of the engine's power, especially during aggressive driving or track use. Either way, the Dark Horse feels fast, but more importantly, it feels alive. The suspension setup has been upgraded to handle aggressive driving without making the car unbearable on the street. It's firm, but not punishing, and the adaptive dampers do an excellent job of balancing comfort and performance. In normal mode, the car is perfectly livable for daily driving, soaking up bumps and rough roads better than you might expect. Switch to sport or track mode, and the car tightens up, becoming more responsive and focused. Handling is where the Dark Horse really separates itself from lesser trims. The steering is precise and communicative, giving you confidence when pushing the car hard. Cornering feels stable and predictable, with plenty of grip from the performance tires. The upgraded brakes provide strong, consistent stopping power, even after repeated hard use, making this car feel just as capable slowing down as it does speeding up. Despite all this performance, the Dark Horse doesn't forget that it's still a Mustang meant to be enjoyed on the street. Visibility is decent for a coupe, the ride quality is manageable, and there's enough technology and comfort features to make it a realistic daily driver if you're willing to live with the fuel consumption of a V8. Now let's talk about pricing, because this is where many people will decide whether the Dark Horse is worth it. The 2026 Ford Mustang Dark Horse is positioned above the standard GT, reflecting its increased performance, upgraded hardware, and exclusive features. While prices can vary depending on options in market, you can expect the Dark Horse to start in the mid to high $50,000 range, with well-equipped models climbing into the 60s. That puts it in an interesting position, offering serious performance at a price that undercuts many European sports cars while delivering a more emotional, character-filled driving experience. When you consider what you're getting, a high-output naturally aspirated V8, track-capable handling, a modern interior, and a design that stands out without being over the top, the Dark Horse starts to make a lot of sense. It's not cheap, but it feels like a fair value for enthusiasts who want something special without stepping into six-figure territory. In the end, the 2026 Ford Mustang Dark Horse feels like a celebration of what makes the Mustang great. It's loud, fast, and unapologetically focused on driving enjoyment, but it's also refined enough to live with every day. It bridges the gap between a classic muscle car and a modern performance machine, offering the kind of experience that's becoming harder to find in today's automotive world. If you're someone who values sound, feel, and connection just as much as numbers on a spec sheet, the Dark Horse delivers in a big way. It's not trying to be the most luxurious or the most high-tech car on the road. Instead, it's trying to be one of the most engaging, and in that mission, the 2026 Ford Mustang Dark Horse absolutely succeeds.